Beards, Books, and Bourbon is a spoiler-rich environment. If you haven't read or listened to this book, then you should probably go ahead and do that, because we're going to talk about it, and we're going to say all the stuff that you don't want us to say. So go back and read it, or listen to it on audiobook, and then come back and listen to us. Thanks so much, and enjoy the show. Recording.
Good evening, everybody. Once again, welcome back to Beards, Books, and Bourbon. I'm Steven.
I'm Mark.
And we are here once again in our garage studio in a wonderful suburb north of Chicago. It is a beautiful evening.
It is a beautiful evening. Humid. You know, it's the clouds are out and the fire is dancing, and
mosquitoes.
There's a goat over here that's totally black and it's telling me if I like to live life deliciously.
Well, why not? What the heck, you know? But We're here once again, and we are well into Season 5. And we've got two people in the garage that normally aren't here with us.
No.
We normally are sitting here alone. But
they were taking a walk around the neighborhood, and we just kidnapped them and brought them in here.
That's right. We're like, look, we need guests. We are tired of not having guests. And I'm tired of doing a show with Mark alone, so can you come in and have some fun?
Exactly.
Right? But in all
it's because I'm equal parts hilarious
and annoying. Equal parts hilarious and annoying. Just to give a little context to that comment, when I went traveling with a teacher group, the teachers listened to our podcast, and one of them commented saying, "Your co-host is equal parts hilarious and annoying."
Thank you.
We are wearing that badge with great pride. Mm-hmm. So we are really, really honored to welcome two authors here to our episode this evening. As our listeners know, we have had a number of authors across the seasons where we have read their books and we have welcomed them to interview with us.
We kidnapped them too.
We did, and they're all in my basement now.
Yes.
So, after the bourbon...
Except for Z. Laxon, who we converted her to our cult.
Well, and
now she travels the world, letting everybody know about the joys of the Church of whatever, otherwise known as Cow. I am the Grand Lactose. And you are the head cheese.
That's right. And on Z's recommendation, we are interviewing this evening authors Shannon and Eddie, authors of the Chimera Snare, the book that we are featuring this evening. And they are here to talk about, they are a duo, a wonderful authoring duo. They are here to talk about the book that we have loved and that we enjoyed reading and that we're featuring here on the show for this episode. And so we're going to get talking to them in a moment, but our bourbon for the evening.
Yes. Let me turn on the bright light. Hold on to your retinas, kids. Tonight's bourbon is from the cellars of Lincoln Henderson, Angel's Envy, Triple O, Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey finished in a blend of Hungarian Shinkapen and French oak barrels. 46% alcohol by volume, 92 proof, 750 milliliters, and we will talk more about that later.
In a little bit. So, welcome Shannon and Eddie to the show.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for having us. Also, I think my bourbon has seemed to somehow disappear.
That happens. Refill on the bourbon as we get into this.
Yeah, we'll fix that.
So, as we mentioned, Shannon and Eddie are in our garage for a live interview. A lot of the authors that we've done have been, on Zoom and whatnot. So we are really glad to have you here, that you've traveled from your home nearby us, not too far from us, to be in our studio this evening.
They came straight from Rhode Island.
That's right. These are the two listeners from Rhode Island that listen to us and hate us, but are now here with our bourbon in our garage.
This is our one chance to bring the state back in.
Rhode Island. Let's go.
Where are you, Rhode Island?
Where are you?
Don't you know we love you, Rhode Island?
So Shannon and Eddie, welcome once again. We're glad to have you here, and I'm going to turn it over to you for a minute, kind of maybe introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about each of you, kind of like your kind of a 10,000-foot view of
We're going to
who
have
you
an
are.
icebreaker, and then we're going to do a trust fall.
That's right.
Fun.
And
Woo,
then
trust fall.
we'll move into talking about the book. So, Shannon, I'll turn it over to you.
Hey, I'm Shannon Vieira from originally born in California, Bay Area. Been in the Midwest for about 3 years, and I love it. Never looking back. So, what to say about myself? I'm crazy into makeup. If you want to guess, I have close to probably 300 wigs at this point, over twice that amount for contacts.
Is that all?
Yeah.
Kind of like our bourbon behind you. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly, and I'm an urban gardener, seeds as well. I just tomato variety alone, I think I have about 80 different varieties.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Oh my
So
gosh.
there's like, if the apocalypse ever comes, you want the gamers, you want the gardeners, you want the people who
We
have
need
the
to head to you.
booze.
That's
True.
right. That's right.
True.
We've got the bourbon, both for medicinal and non-medicinal purposes.
All the
right?
misunderstood
For any
cottagecore kids will all be living off of grasses and mushrooms.
That's right.
And they'll still be alive.
That's right. That's right. Eddie, welcome to the show.
Yes, I am Eddie, born and raised as well in the Bay Area, Santa Clara, California, just as Shannon right next to me as well.
Guess where we meet? Or guess where we met?
Ah,
Yeah.
Boise, Ohio. Idaho.
How'd
There's potatoes there, so that would
You could
definitely
have it. That would, yeah, right.
yes, potatoes equals life for me. So.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed, yeah. And I suppose when I'm not writing, I'm a bass player as well. I was a practicing musician some years back. Was in a prog metal band in San Jose for a good while. I suppose amateur photographer as well. I love to take wonderful pictures of my ever-expanding vinyl collection.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Another
So-
kind of thing through the pandemic, right?
Yeah, that was a pandemic thing that happened. Yeah.
Same with the makeup. We're just like, let's do our own individual creative project and see what
That's
happens.
what you and I were talking about this, Shannon. It's one of the good things that came from the pandemic, and we've mentioned this before on the show. This show was a product of that
Right.
time when we decided to create something we wanted to create.
That's right.
Yeah, even a side note on that is like we both had found that the connections that we had both made respectively through social media, a lot of that actually tied to the Midwest, this very area before we had even moved out here.
Right,
Which is really cool because then when we moved, we're like, oh, we're going to be alone. This is going to be kind of hard. And then we're like, oh my goodness, like we
Yeah.
actually know people.
It's like,
This is
right.
crazy.
it was actually like through, because I could actually like created like an Instagram account for like just solely for my vinyl photography musings, and a good handful of people that I met through there, and that kind of got bundled in through like some like music chats on there. Just so happened to live in the Midwest, and a good handful of them in Illinois,
Yeah.
and so
It's
there
pretty
you
cool.
have it. It was like kind of meant to be, you know.
I mean, it's outstanding. We share a mutual friend author, right? Z Laxon was
Yeah.
the author who's been on our show for her book Twice Removed, and
Which is amazing, by the way.
which is incredible,
Yep.
and had recommended you guys to us, and you had come in touch with us, and we got this arranged for this evening. So we're at the end of July recording this. By the time you hear this episode, we'll be into end of August, beginning of September. But we're excited to talk about this is your first novel, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Together, right? The Chimera Snare. Published in
2024, like a bunch of nerds on our wedding anniversary.
On your wedding anniversary.
Yeah, the 8th,
August 17th. August 17th.
Okay, so this is coming up now. So happy early anniversary then to you both, because we won't see you on that. So cheers with the bourbon and making sure my glass is not breaking.
Yes.
So I guess we have a common question between us. So let's start there. Any good podcast is going to start there. We'll start with the heart of the story, right? What inspired the Chimera Snare, and kind of where did that initial seed or the idea come from? And we'll throw that to both of you as an open question, and we'll kind of go back and forth with questions as we go along.
Yeah.
For our listeners, we're going to focus on the writing process, and as always, we are a spoiler-rich environment, but we're not going to spoil the novel because we want you to go and support these authors. I mean, this is the bedrock of a good democracy, shall I say, making sure that we're sharing ideas and writing and publishing.
Wow. Okay.
I like that.
Yes.
So-
So we're not going to spoil the ending, which is
No.
good because everybody will be really upset if they find out that all the characters die
at the ending.
Yeah,
So-
sorry.
Terribly sad. Take a swig of
Yeah,
your bourbon
yeah.
and just mourn them.
That's right. Everybody
Pour a
drink.
little out. Oh, you already poured a little out earlier.
I
Oh,
did.
yeah.
Accidentally.
I'd say you poured enough
Now
out
I
for
smell like the
homies.
bourbon. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. We're good.
That's right.
We're covered.
That's right. That's right. So the inspiration for this story. For
So
you
with as quintessential as it sounds, it was really a dream. I had actually conceived of some of the main characters back when I was in high school, and I left that beautiful little dream behind when I just went right into working full time because that's what
happens.
Destiny called it of me, and there's a band called Agalock, and I love them to pieces. And of the first 2 tracks of their album, The Mantle, I had a sleep-deprived daydream, which I guess is more of a hallucination. At that point, about a couple of the main characters is like forbidden love between them because they were from different worlds, and naturally people are jerks if you're from different places, and you want to kind of bridge that gap through love and kindness and everything like that. So when I had this daydream, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm going to make an animation. And then I realized that took school that I couldn't afford to do. So I was like, well, what could I maybe do? I think I could write. Let's give that a shot. So I did for a very long time. Like working on the prologue alone was like almost a year. And I hated reading it because I remember the very first iteration of it and it won't ever leave my head. But fast forward, I back in 2015, I published the first iteration of Fragments alone, and it was a kind of, I call it Dark Days Shannon because there was a lot of drama in my life at the time, but this was the one positive thing that kind of came from it. Until the next positive thing came was when Eddie and I we started a relationship, and at that time I was already working on the next book because I knew I wanted it to be a series. So I just kind of left Fragments on the down low, do its thing. And we started a relationship. I started bouncing ideas off of him. And part of the reason why I married him is his brain is delicious. And so I started bouncing ideas off of him whenever I got like writer's block. And then I was like, do you want to just write this with me? Which was kind of like a weird, maybe, I don't know. It's I don't know. I could even write
let me
this.
pull you into this world that I'm creating type of thing. Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
And so we actually had written book 2 together, but when we got to the end, we were like, we got to go back to the very first one and just really rip this apart because the universe that we had created had just expanded so much. But not only just that, it's even for myself as a writer, I had kind of leveled up quite a bit and I was like, yeah, what's there is just not very good. I mean, well, there's some parts that are good, but
I wouldn't say it's not good. I mean,
I'm always going to say that about myself.
I know that. You're very self-critical, yeah. But when I read it, I thought it was like a very beautiful and very surreal kind of read, for one thing.
I married you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
See? It worked. It matched, right? Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
I do have an important question. Eddie, how do you feel about the fact that your wife is a cannibal and wants to eat your brain?
Yes. Because it is delicious.
It is delicious.
I think it's pretty hot.
Yeah.
Side, I do run a monthly zombie-themed makeup collab with.
Really?
Yes, I do.
Perfect.
Yes,
This is fantastic.
on Instagram, and
So-
maybe this is the whole brain-eating kind of thing that
Yeah.
maybe started.
Maybe
it,
so. Well, now
but
you know.
yeah,
My brain.
zombies are
Yeah.
hot, and yes.
It all makes sense now. Yeah. That's cool.
Does she ever walk in the room and go, Coral?
Took me a moment there.
Thank you,
Man,
thank
have we gotten to Walking Dead that far? I can't remember.
Maybe not.
Remember.
Maybe not. God, that's a good series.
You know what?
Oh,
We
God.
might.
We I forget where we got to where because I'd put off watching it for a long time
Yes.
because someone told me that the ending was just not that great, and then I got kind of
Disappointed. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people that I invest I have to wait to invest because we're working on this book, so I don't want to get detracted
That's
and
right.
you know
That's right.
off
That's
track or whatnot. But
Yeah.
Let me go back to something you just said, because you had said that you had started the first book, before the relationship began, right?
Mhm.
And then when you started writing together, you had to, the second book, right? You had to go back to the first book.
Mhm.
Stretch that out a little bit for us. So what was the it's interesting because the essential core of the idea came from you, but then you added a new person to that.
Mhm.
Both not only from a writing perspective, but from a a personal love for each other as your relationship
Relationship.
developed and you married and you share something, on a deeper level now. How did you decide to then turn around and go back and reformulate something that had been living in you for so long? And this is the kind of thing that we love on the podcast, because that goes off the beaten path of the initial question. And just picking up on what you said, because that's a fascinating turn of events, right? Something lived in you and now had the impact that Eddie brought to that whole thing.
Yeah, and then it kind of became its own thing after that. Like it almost is like, whether it's like a business relationship or like a personal relationship,
Or
generally when
parasites.
Or parasites.
Or parasites. Because first it lived in you.
Right.
Yeah,
And now it's
spread
living
to
in
you.
It makes me think of like the brainworms that Fry had on Futurama.
Exactly,
But
exactly.
it would be exactly like that, where
Yes.
they actually worked in harmony together.
Are you a
improve.
parasite with me on this show?
I am absolutely
is that
a
where we've
parasite
gone
for
to this
you.
point at this
I've
point?
been-
Maybe vice versa.
I've
You
been
leeching
living off of
me
you for
right
years.
now?
Yep.
That's right.
I can
That's
see
tasty
it.
brain matter.
I can see it.
But it's exactly that. I think, it's kind of one of the things when it comes to a relationship, in any respect, whether it's, your personal relationship with one another, your significant other, a business relationship, like whatever you combine together would spawn something even greater, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
You know
Yep.
what I mean? Like,
For sure, yeah.
because he gave me a chance to kind of gain perspective and
On the first book or
yes,
on kind of
because even as we went forward, like, I think the biggest thing is like when you let somebody else in onto the project, there's the trust that's there. You give that person like
yes.
100% of trust, but then you also have to listen too, and you can't be like a jerk dictator that just is like, no, this is the way it has to be. Which, by the way, I did have to learn, because there would be things where he would point out like, this might not make the best of sense.
And you're like,
And you're like,
yeah.
no, it does. This is the way it has to be.
Well, you're vulnerable. You become vulnerable.
You do, and you have to kind of like learn to like, yes, let that wash over you, but
Right.
then like you have to so I'm not a very prideful person, but still it's the ideas. I think for me, I kind of feel like maybe my memory is not the best, but like the things that I've kind of rooted for so many years. I mean, at this point now, we're coming up on like over 20 years. Oh my goodness.
Yep.
Of
Yep.
just this seed, this concept that's like rooted in my brain, and then being like, this is how it's going to be. And then to have someone say, maybe that's not the best way, this is a better way. Things like that kind of get you to kind of think.
Yeah.
And then you have to really acknowledge when the better idea exists. And it was hard at first, but then
Yeah.
we just got over another part recently too.
We did.
But yeah, anyways, that's another part. But yeah,
That's another tangent,
it was hard at
So
first.
what's your take on that then? Coming in to a creative process that has already been, in the kiln.
Right.
Yeah, somebody else's work, and then on top of that, somebody else that you deeply care about, and it's their work.
Right.
Right.
And you're also helping create the next part to that work.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Right.
expectation is that you're going to be supportive, but you're also going to be honest, and that can be
And you're going to be creative
That can
too.
be a tightrope.
You're going to drive the creation too next.
Right. It was a delicate balance to try and maintain. Basically, what it came down to, just from my perspective, being a reader from the first iteration of Fragments, I looked at everything from a writer's standpoint, thinking that like just with every new idea that came about from the two of us, we kind of had to take a moment to be like, okay, is this going to work? And does it make sense? And does it lend to the story?
No.
Is it going to enhance the story? Those sort of things. And from that point, with every idea we came to, we're like, okay, we either determine yes or no,
Or maybe.
or maybe, and I'll just say that for
So
later.
you categorized whatever was going. Yeah.
But
Yes, no, maybe, and
Yep, exactly.
And,
And,
oh yeah.
and the tree of notes is ever growing. My goodness.
yes, we have expansive notes.
Yeah, sure.
just kind of everywhere.
The old notes, the old notes, the old OMG WTF notes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They're all there.
I remember. I mean, I certainly remember you like when you were still doing the solo. I remember all the notebooks in front of you that were just like kind of spread open in front of you. I'm like,
Because I like to write
holy
things.
crap! this is
Oh
like-
yes. Oh yes.
Wow.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I'm the same way.
I am not.
So
My
I-
handwriting
so I
is
have-
atrocious.
So
I write something and I go back. I take notes for work, and I'll go back. If I had to handwrite the notes, I will spend more time trying to translate it and type it into something.
It's really funny you say that because there's lots of times when I look back at my notes, I'm like, is this like a F or a G?
Right.
Right,
Like,
right,
how
right,
is
right.
this? Heck is this?
Yeah,
Who
it's
knows?
like
no, go for it.
it's like was I watching?
stack of
Was I
notebooks.
reading Dune before I took these
do
notes?
too.
Is this in Harkonnen? What is going on?
if you actually, there's kind of like, so one of the cool things about being a writer, I'm sorry, I'm going to jump to another tangent, is
Go
kind of
ahead.
just bringing things like from your own personal experience, just a little bit that might be kind of cool for someone else to kind of experience. So there's parts in book one, which a lot of this is kind of just like things that had related to me growing up or things like that. But there's a part where there's lots, notebooks are spread everywhere because like that's my own personal experience. Like there's just something about having that like knowledge or like those notes in front of you, and it is sparks something from that, but it is exactly what you had said, but it also kind of goes to where when I maybe go to work one of these days, I forgot my other notebook and now I'm going to have to buy a new one because
God forbid, right? I just buy notebooks because I like them, and then they sit on my shelf, and I'm like, oh, I should fill that one. And then I have the other ones that are full, and I'm like, well, where was I with that? Both for my teaching
and I don't want
and for my creative process, right? Like,
right.
like I have notes on things that I've wanted to do for years, and I've told Mark this many times, right? I have notes of ideas. I have notes of different shows I want to do. I have notes of, and I've never done any of them.
Well, I just realized as I was showing them the book cover, I published my first novel in 2015, and I still haven't written part two. I have.
Right around the time we met first.
It's 80% done, but then I had a career change, and I've been focused on that, plus also the pandemic for the last 10 years. I really need to finish book two.
You do.
Yeah,
You do. You do. And when we talk to authors on the show, we get inspired, right? We get inspired for the things that we want to do and the things that I want to do in teaching or the things that I want to do in my own career. And this was one of the outlets. I mean, this podcast was one of those outlets, right?
For sure.
It gave us a chance to express something that we had always wanted to express, right? And it's great. Let's delve into the book a little bit too. Let's introduce our characters, right? Because there's a question that goes along with it. The characters are complex, right? Which is where it should be in a character development, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're also and I don't know, for me when I'm reading, like, all of them, Trish, Rachel, Vaughn, even Marasek himself, like they're just complex characters, but they're fluid. Is that a good word?
I love
Maybe
Fluid's a great word.
They're fluid.
Yes.
They're ambiguous even too in many cases. Like
especially Marasek.
Yes.
Right on with that.
And you get a sense, but they're ambiguous in different ways. They're morally ambiguous.
Mm-hmm. I'm so happy you pinpointed Marasek for that reason.
Yes.
Because like he is.
Well, it didn't hit me until late.
Sure.
So go with that.
Oh yeah, just solely because of the fact that Marasek is probably, well, for one thing,
it's your favorite character.
my favorite character.
Yeah, he rose to the top for me.
Oh yeah, he's great. He's great. Yeah.
I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
A lot of
I love the unexpected for sure.
You know,
and even when it came to like me, like writing for that character, I was like, he just kind of like that was one of the. He was probably the most proponent character that lived in my head for the longest time.
Yeah.
Just because he just had this thing about him where he just had so much depth that just needed to be, what's the word? Embellished in. Yeah. And for good reason. Just in the context of the forthcoming second book, I fell in love with the character. He was just so much fun to write, and just such a crazy amount of depth to him that is just like.
So let's come back to that too, because that clearly is your favorite character. Let's get your favorite character, but let's start just with a quick kind of overview of the characters, right? So I'm naming a couple of them, but help me out here too. So we have Rochelle, we have Trish.
We have like the Earthbound characters.
The Earthbound characters.
Because essentially with book one, you're kind of like smack dab in the middle of our overall arc with intent, right? So you're thrown into all of everything that has like kind of happened, and along with the Earthbound characters, that's where you're learning everything like the feud between the distant realms, like why they're even involved in the first place, and like what it all even means. And a lot of it happens through recollections of memories that don't belong to these characters. And as you read like later on, you'll find like who they belong to and such. So Rachel
Break
and
down for our
Trish.
listeners real quick the
Yeah.
different realms, the Earthbound realms.
Yeah, so you have
And
the Earthbound
Celestial.
realm, and then you have the two like parallel rules that kind of run is it congruent the right word? I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it like
They're-
just like
I think you had
alongside?
it when you said parallel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
parallel. Yeah.
the realms that run parallel to Earth.
So that's Deva.
Yep.
One is Deva, and then
Deva
Celestine. Those are
and
the two main ones. You'll kind of start to see there because we are definitely like multi realm y.
Yep.
There's quite a few different ones.
Sure, you've got a multiverse.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you.
Well,
That's the word.
Well,
okay,
you've got
actually, what it
layered-
reminded me of is it reminded me more of like old style D&D, where
Yeah.
the term multiverse hadn't come around yet. Instead, it was referred to as planes of existence,
yes,
Yeah.
and the
sure.
idea that they're all sandwiched together on top of each other, so they're all
Yes, not so much like one universe here and then the separate like its own independent universe here. where-
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
it's like
exactly
they're all kind of existing in the same space, but out of phase with each other.
That's a good way of putting it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and there'll be so like Opiri and then Utsiri. Those are other like kind of I would say that they're like secondary realms in this version right here. But
Yeah, not the main
they're not the main ones, but it's definitely Deva, Celestine, and then Earth. So like
Earth,
I
yeah.
would say like book one is more of an urban fantasy in that
Yep.
respect because 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Yeah.
So Marasek is kind of your favorite character. Let me talk about Rachel and Trish for a minute,
Mhm.
and Tobias and
Yeah.
Sean.
Whoa,
Sean.
wait. What was that?
Well, hold on.
Tobias?
He said
We're-
Tobias, and you went, ooh.
Because the motorcycle. So like I
Well,
really
yeah,
want
yes,
a
there's a motorcycle.
That's
But anyway,
that's a tangent. We'll get to that
Like,
later.
it's that.
Yeah.
so as a high school teacher myself, right? This was those characters resonated with me on so many different levels. There were moments where it was like, oh yeah, I get you. And there were other moments where like, oh yeah, that's really annoying. And my
Yes.
students do that.
Right.
And Mark and I often, if you've listened to our episodes, which I think you have,
Yeah.
Mark and I quite frequently, in many episodes, we look for relevance. Like, how are we relating to the story?
Yeah.
How are we relating to the characters? And how is it relevant in the world around us? And what I think Rachel and Trish allow us to do, and these are relevant to my daily life. Like, this is something that pulls us. And if you go back and listen to some of our themed episodes, we did a themed episode, I believe, on fear.
We did. I think that might have been the first one.
Probably.
Yeah.
So occasionally we'll do a theme episode where we pick a theme, either something we've gathered from the books or something we've talked about, and we go into the theme instead of a book, right?
Except for that one time that we were going to do a theme show and it just turned into, tonight we're just going to drink.
Right. So it was a drinking show.
Yeah.
Re-invited.
And
Sorry. Next time.
In a minute. And in the fear one, we talked about the relevance of fear in everybody's life. There's always a fear.
Yeah.
It could be like what would consider to be a small fear, right? Like, like, I don't know, spiders, although that's probably not a small fear for most people or who are spirits with. Or like the fear of the unknown, something that is, and we had talked about some of the books we have.
Cosmic horror.
Cosmic horror, like an ancient something that is so
Something that is
old.
unknowable.
That is, in fact, we got this from if you've never read the story of Lorraine and Ed Warren, the demonologists who were the source of the Amityville horror, right?
I was
They were the-
actually really big into demonology.
Oh.
They were the
That
investigators,
was-
yeah.
So the book is
My
called The
20s.
Demonologist. It's a biography essentially about them.
Yep.
Okay.
It's really good. And one of the things inside the book is talking about the things that Ed Warren. So she was a sensitive, right? She was kind of psychologically,
And Ed
sensitive.
Warren was the only
And he was-
non-ordained, sanctioned demonologist by the Catholic Church.
right.
Gotcha.
But he would say that the things that they came across were so ancient and so old and so removed from this earth as to never have walked on the earth. And so my point is that the relevance is something that I connected with the high school students here.
Yeah.
because it's the world I occupy right now.
And I love that because so when the closer in my 20s when I was originally writing this, the closer to these high school students I was,
Yeah.
the more time that passed, the more
The
gaps.
further you're away. Yes.
Yes, and I started kind of wondering, shoot, should they be high schoolers or maybe we should go to college because that's kind of where my
No,
my,
you need to keep
my
them as
gate-
high schoolers. Like, they
Yeah.
are perfectly.
I'm glad you say that
Yeah.
because I think it's just naturally as you move further away from things like that, you might start to feel maybe your personal relevance. Like, yeah,
That's right.
I mean, I think, well, for me, like high school was not like cherries and sunshine or whatever you want to say. Like high school
Yeah.
sucked, and and then just having like your own normal drama to kind of like
Yes.
throw in some cosmic drama. Like, how are you gonna live? Like
Right.
it's hard, and to
Right.
have like two different lives running side by side. You're like my own personal life as a high school student, and then oh my goodness, there's this stuff also going on that's like tying my my mindset like in a different way. How
That's-
do I deal with this?
That's kind of what high school is. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, high school students get pulled in so many different directions. They have their social life within school. They have their academic life, which is separate. They have their home life at home, which is separate. They have their organizational life, whether it's football or cheerleading or math club or whatever the heck it is.
That's right.
You know, and that's separate. You are a different person with every single organization and environment that you are exposed to or that you're a part of.
Right.
And so it can feel very much like on a cosmic scale of who am I and where am I going and what am I doing. It's the reason why these kinds of sci-fi and fantasy dramas translate so easily into the high school realm because they're already schizophrenic.
Yeah, in a sense, yeah. Just because, like, yeah, I think people maybe nowadays, like, maybe wouldn't give so much credit to a high school age individual to deal with like a certain kind of adversity.
Right.
But when we were in high school,
Mhm.
like we dealt with plenty of it. You know.
Oh yes,
Oh, yeah.
plenty. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I think for that reason, like as you mentioned, like when we were faced with this decision to whether to like update this version of Fragments to like, incorporate like, okay, are these students going to remain in high school or should they be in college age? We ultimately decided to like keep them in the high school realm for that reason.
Yeah.
I think just because
When you get to
ultimately
high
related
school,
to
you're
that.
kind of slapped around with so many things. You just, yeah, it's.
But it
just-
connects
it's-
with high schoolers who might be reading your book, too.
Yes, and
Yeah.
we've actually had some younger readers as well, like 13, 14 and
Yeah.
stuff, and it's actually kind of humbling and cool that like
Oh,
they
yeah.
would be interested in something like this as well.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, there's
Yeah.
young readers. You're like, yay!
Yeah, you
That's-
get them
that's-
into reading, and you go, yeah.
Yes, and
Totally,
then and the
totally.
idea too was to kind of have them kind of mature along with us. You know what I mean? Because as the series goes, things are going to get more mature with intent and things like that. But I would say without any kind of like learning phase or level up, you start at a particular place, and I guess high school is definitely
The place.
a pretty prominent place.
So you created this world. Which character is closest to you?
Oh, that's a great question.
Marasek, so I'm with you. I'm fascinated by Marasek.
Yeah.
Just from a reader perspective, for me at least, right?
For sure.
So I'm anxious to see where he goes,
Oh yeah.
Me too.
right?
You'll-
And I'm anxious for the second book. And but how about you? It's hard to
It's-
ask the originating author because you all of them came from you.
Yes,
In a way.
exactly. Because I kind of love everybody the same.
Yeah.
I would definitely say. I mean, so it's funny because to kind of go on that when we did our first beta reading for Fragments, when everyone had this question like, "What is your favorite character?" No one said my favorite character. And it's funny because she's not really meant to be anyone's favorite character. Actually, there's two of them that are the same. They're not really meant to be anyone's favorite character at that point because you're kind of just like, I wouldn't say that you're put off by them, but like there's more complexity to them that you're gonna learn and understand why they're that way as the rest of the series continues. But it's a blend of Navran and Rachel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, feisties.
So well, we'll get to that in a minute. So let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Well, with that in mind, speaking of Pisces and fish and things that you drink,
How far are we in?
34 minutes.
Oh boy!
Already?
So this is the best part. So when we do these, I mean, again, we come up. I have my iPad. We write all these questions, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to stop. I stopped at 15. I'm like, all right. And I'm thinking, all right, that's 2-3 minutes per question, whatever, and I'm like, no, because then we go on to these sidetracks, and it's even more impressive and more beautiful for us to do that because that's fun. So now we got to get to the bourbon.
Now we got to get to the
Yes.
So,
The bourbon.
While we're doing the bourbon, I would like to ask you the question and think about it for a little bit.
Yes.
Why did you pick this bourbon?
Why fantasy?
Why
There's
fantasy?
any genre that you could have written in. Why was it this particular brand of fantasy? What in your personal experiences
there.
that drew you in that direction? But we'll talk about the bourbon first, and then we'll come back to you. That'll be the first question that you answer.
All right.
Okay.
He's going to go back and introduce the bourbon again. A little bit more detail.
That I didn't get another pour of that by that last time.
I'm pretty sure I did
I
give you
don't
another,
think
but would you
so.
like a third one?
I'm going to need one too because
you
this glass is still intact.
Oh, that's good.
I also really like the name. Perhaps think that maybe it was a reason behind it.
You know what? I'll take another taste.
Yes, I think we're all.
It's like we're all
Envy.
sleeping in your parking lot tonight.
We're all
You
gonna
can lay on my lawn.
I'm fine
Mark
with
lays
that.
on my lawn.
Good to
I'll
know.
be yelling
Oscar will be happy to welcome you into the
I'll be like yelling at the other dogs.
Is this a
in the
dead
morning.
soldier tonight?
Huh?
This is a dead soldier
Just,
tonight.
just,
Just
Congratulations.
give me your glass. Give me your
Just
glass.
about.
You already poured half the thing back in there. That's a big.
Wait. Keep it like that. Keep it like that.
Right, we're gonna get a picture.
Picture up.
I'm sorry. The little thing is 1, 1, 2, 3. Okay, sweet. I got a photo. I will definitely send.
Cool.
All right,
Wow, we're on it.
Introduce that bourbon.
Okie dokie. Shield your eyes, kids. Here we go. Tonight's bourbon is from the cellars of Lincoln Henderson. Angel's Envy Triple Oak, Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, finished in a blend of Hungarian Shinkapen and French oak barrels. 46% alcohol by volume, 92 proof. There's stuff on the side, angel wings on the back, more stuff on the side.
That's hard.
And
I like
no,
the
this one's
angel.
actually not bad. Angel's Envy cask type triple oak. Everything we do is grounded in whiskey tradition up to a certain point. This bourbon starts as a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, then we finish it in oak casks sourced from around the world. We blend this toasted Hungarian, Shinkapen, French oak barrels together to achieve a distinctive profile that pushes the boundaries. And then I also went to the website, and I don't want to say what they say it tastes like. I want everybody to take a taste first, and then we'll make some guesses. So here's what we do. The first thing we do is we talk about the nose, so we smell it. Then we talk about the palate, so we taste it. And then we taste it again, and you try to taste what it tastes like after you're done drinking it. That's the back end. So I smell caramel.
You guys are in the hot seat.
You guys
I smell caramel. I kind of get a little bit of like cinnamony.
Okay.
I also threw a hunk of like candied ginger in here, so I don't know if that's gonna mess with.
So that's and that's interesting too because we will, and I did not yet, but we usually typically grab some ice as well because the ice will often often change the flavor of the bourbon a little bit as well.
Absolutely.
Right. So we can do that as well. Although that's interesting. So Shannon brought some candied ginger here as well.
Right.
We'll add a whole different layer to the bourbon itself.
Absolutely.
So I definitely get the cinnamon, and I definitely get the caramel, and I'm getting a little bit of clove in here too. Now we've done Angel
Okay.
Envy before.
Yes, this is a different one
Excuse me,
that we've
not
had in the
the triple
past. Right.
It's been a long time. It's
Right.
season 1 at least.
It's been a long time. Sorry, Enterprise. There we go.
Are we karaokeing after this?
Maybe.
No,
You
well,
never know.
maybe.
It happens.
It happens.
It kind of spontaneously happens
It
here.
happens.
All right, let's take a sip.
When we bring out "Never Gonna Let You Go," I'm gonna hold. Then we got.
But then we're
Then we-
gonna have to maybe get into some, I don't know, like get into some GISM.
Oh, yes.
I actually did get a bit of vanilla when, more so after I popped the ginger in here, but there's
So
it's a
vanilla
nice
for
and
sure, like an
roasty
undertone of the roast. So the triple oak, each of those barrels, which I can't.
So it's a
see.
different kind of wood, and all bourbon gets its flavor from the wood
Right.
barrels that it
Hungarian,
ages in.
Shinkapen, and
Right.
French oak barrels. 3. So generally speaking, and we learned this a little bit from when we did the blending for the foundation that I was telling you about. They'll leave it in one barrel for a period of time, then they'll
Yeah.
move it to another barrel for a period of time.
Anywhere from
another barrel for a period-
6 months to 6
to
years.
6 years.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
And then move it to another barrel. to get to soak in that wood flavor, whatever that wood is. So, the French oak and the American oak woods are powerful flavor absorbers for
the American oak tends to give you more of that vanilla and caramel.
Yes.
The French oak adds in a little bit more of spice. So you get like a peppery taste or a cinnamon taste, something like that. The Hungarian, I'm not quite sure what it does. I mean, we've had other bourbons that were in Hungarian wine barrels.
Yes.
And that created some really interesting flavors. It was kind of chocolate covered cherry was in there. There was a currant or a fig was in there.
Bring it up close and pull it away. There's a little bit of herbaceous that kind of happens.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely.
I definitely get the cinnamon for sure on top of the caramel. The vanilla kind of sneaks in there a little bit.
So that's what I'm going to say too. I'm going to agree with you on that one. It's like a layer at the bottom.
Yes.
What about smoke? Do you taste any smoke?
I definitely get the smoke, and I definitely feel like this is very fancy for my palate.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, it's not. It's
in
not
a good way.
For me, it's not the smokiest. The smokiest that I've tasted.
Because there's sometimes
I think it's
smoke
more
can be
sweet, more
very
caramelly.
overwhelming. And I don't like that.
More
so
caramel,
much.
more vanilla
Like a
than
hot
smoke.
Yep.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Because I remember tasting a little double of Lagavulin, and that was extremely smoky.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sure. Well,
And I was I don't know about this.
I mean, Scotch is made with peat smoke, right? So
That makes sense.
It's sour mash and smoke, and that's really all that it's supposed to be. That's what Scotch does.
Yep.
It's got some other flavors of grains that are kind of within the profile, but predominantly it's I'm drinking a dinosaur. That I set on fire.
Nah.
Exactly.
Okay, so this is what it says on the website, and then we will pause, get some ice, and then we'll try it again.
Yes.
The website says, the artistry of Angel's Envy Triple Oak lies in how each barrel's character enhances the blend. The French oak brings the strongest flavor of all, providing hints of baking spices, chocolate, and cinnamon. It is complemented by the Shinkapen oak, a seasoned local Kentucky oak, which adds notes of caramel, vanilla, and a rich coffee layer. The Hungarian oak balances the three, providing depth while uniting the finishes into one balanced flavor profile.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Did you catch any coffee?
I swear I was thinking the same thing. I was like, let's do this again.
Come to think of it,
The coffee is...
I didn't realize it at first, but
I think it comes in with the caramel and the vanilla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost that latte quality.
Yes, absolutely. But
that's a good way to put it.
This is the thing that's going to quote the Matrix, that's really going to bake your noodle, is that you didn't taste it until I talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
So how much of it is subjective and how much of it is you being able to recognize something that's an actual flavor in...
But also, how much of that is this experience that's kind of overwhelming? It's kind of like fireworks in your brain that it's sometimes very hard to kind of explain these.
Right.
So you're like, you're right, this is right,
Mm-hmm.
And
if you go back and listen to our first season, our palates have become...
Wow, this bourbon tastes so bourbony.
Right, I'm like, this is alcohol.
Oh, we tried this old elk. This old elk we're drinking here. It tastes like wood. It smells like burning. It tastes like burning wood. I like it.
You guys have expressed that you are, aficionados of beer, right?
Yes, which is interesting you say the whole wood thing too, because there is different palates with beer.
Right.
So the darker beers, which I always say literally taste like wood. But that kind of
like a campfire.
Yes.
Well, you get an oaky flavor.
Porters and stouts. I love porters and stouts.
I do too.
I don't.
I've moved more towards those.
Oh, I love the liquid sandwich.
Right here.
It's good stuff.
Yes.
Or a good lager.
A good lager, a good pilsner, a good...
But a good amber.
I'm like Big Trouble in Little China, baby. I love the black blood of the earth. I'm all about it.
I think, what is it? Old Rasputin was the one that I was really like, this was really good.
Old Rasputin, you can't really go wrong.
Yeah, no.
That was one of our first concerts together, not first concert together, but remember Old Rasputin? We saw, Windspell.
Wait, was that the beer or the band? Old Rasputin.
Old Rascal
Oh,
was the
no,
beer,
no.
and then
So
Moonspell
so
was
so
the
the
band.
yeah, so the band
They actually
was
stopped serving my beer, I think.
it was
And I
a
was like,
camp it
I
was
was so mad.
it was a campfire stout. I can't remember the brewery, unfortunately, but the show itself was Moonspell
Ich weiß.
with Septic Flesh opening.
Ich
Yes,
weiß.
or direct support. Sorry, but yes.
But no, I thought it was Old Rascal. Anyways,
it
I
was
always
not.
say
It
that
was
it
not.
tastes like wood, and
Yeah.
I'm not a very big fan of dark beers for that particular reason, but there are some that are very unsuspecting that when you start to drink them, you get these flavor profiles that I actually prefer. And
I really want someone to make a porter that's called Grave Dirt. That's what I want. That's what I want.
You know, it's funny you say that because like at this is another little tangent, but when throughout my my vinyl Instagram days, which is still ongoing, I've come across a lot of individuals that embellish in doom metal.
Yes.
If you're familiar.
Yes.
And
I was looking at the list of inspirations in the
Yes.
the cover of the book.
I'm so happy
Yes.
you did because
Oh yeah.
because
Heck yeah.
there's a good handful of bands that are on there that like
I think the
you-
first thing I said to Stephen was, "That's a lot of bands,"
Yeah.
it is a lot of bands,
and I'm sure that's all black metal, death metal, and doom metal.
yeah
for
that's
the most part,
that's
there's a bit of post rock in there. There's a bit of
yeah there's
whatever
a
you would
sprinkling
call
of there.
Zeromancer and Orgy.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
That's I'm yeah
Prog metal probably in there as well. A little bit of that.
There's
Prague. I mean, Prague, I think maybe in the back of at least my mind
Okay.
has lent to some inspiration because that's where I was at as a musician.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, like the descriptor of like some doom metal that would come about within the last few years, we would through a few of my Instagram friends, we would describe it as like determining the heaviness of this doom metal. We would be like, oh yeah, this is graveyard dirt level of doom, you know.
There's a scoring scale, right?
Yes. So like, so yeah, when we get to the level of like grave dirt,
How doomy is this? This is great
that's
dirt.
pretty doomy.
I'm pretty sure there's a band called Graveyard Dirt because it sounds familiar.
There's a band called Graveyard.
Graveyard.
Well, yes, Graveyard.
Yeah, he knows Graveyard. There you go.
I probably don't know
He
it as well
knows.
as you, but there is.
He knows.
All
There
right.
you go.
I'm gonna pause so we can get ice.
Get ice.
Okay, so we have gotten the ice. Everybody has an ice cube in their glass. Try to remember what you tasted the first time around and taste it now. So start by smelling it. See if it smells any different to you.
Brings out the sweetness for me even more.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, even more of the vanilla than I have of the caramel now.
I was going to say the caramel and the vanilla, I kind of pick up on that a bit. It's still the nice boozy punch. I definitely still get it. Like it doesn't weaken that.
So yeah, I almost
Yeah.
get like a fruit.
Well, I think
It's like wood sugar and spice. You know, it's almost like a holiday tart.
Now you're making me want to bake.
which, by the way, holiday tarts have caramel and vanilla in them.
I know that, Stephen. You're mad, Stephen. By the way, I am the parasite. You know, when we started the podcast, I was bald and you had hair.
That's right. That's right.
I'm just saying.
No. Hair. It left at 21 and never looked back.
Not gonna lie, there was a very stressful point when in my conscious reason area that if my hair was going to continue to fall off, I was going to shave it, and I still will. So on my 50th birthday, if I haven't shaved it by then, you are more than welcome to. We are all going to have a shave part of my head.
Fantastic. I
party,
will be
and it's going to
61.
happen.
Great. So we'll be good to go. I'll be
Yeah.
approaching retirement.
There you go.
And maybe we'll make this a full-time thing.
That's right. You never know.
You know? All right. So that's our bourbon, which is a good pour
So-
for the evening.
This is
A
What-
lot of the
The good
sweetness
pour
comes
for
out
the evening.
now.
Yes.
Now when I'm sipping on it after the ice, there's the caramel like really hits.
So what's missing? What do you not taste that you tasted before?
So what's funny with me, it's the
Beer.
opposite. The sweetness has gone down, but I get a little bit more vanilla now.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
See, for me,
So-
the caramel is almost gone.
That's weird.
I think
Yes.
the vanilla. I think
Yes,
the,
that's
but I
right.
think the vanilla is heightened.
Yeah, the
But
vanilla,
for me too.
the vanilla is
super
heightened,
yes.
heightened.
but that caramelized sugar that has gone
suppressed.
down. That's suppressed.
Mm.
There's absolutely no
Remember,
smoke.
the vanilla is like a creamy flavor.
Right.
Sure.
So you're getting a creamy flavor in the bourbon.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
And not necessarily a sweet flavor
And I'm getting
or a smoky.
it's not smoke, but I get kind of an astringent wood taste and the spice.
Yeah.
So there's cinnamon.
Yeah.
There's still, I taste the clove that you were talking about earlier. It's really like, it's like somebody's baking a pie.
Yeah.
The spice is definitely heightened, I would say.
Right. And sometimes that can be hard to taste because sometimes people mistake spice for burn. You know, the alcohol burning on your tongue, and you go,
Or
"Oh, that's
down your-
spice."
Yeah, well, if you don't make like your own spice cookies like during the holiday season, you might not know that, but like we definitely do.
Right.
If you visit the
Gingerbread.
distilleries in Kentucky, they call it the good old Kentucky hug.
Good old Kentucky
When
hug.
it's burning down your throat.
Kentucky.
We were actually supposed to be in Kentucky this year
That's right.
for the Books Bourbon Spooky Soiree.
You know,
It actually got postponed until next year, which I don't.
We
even
need to
know.
go to some of these shows too.
We
You
really do
will
need to go to
be
some
and we
of
need to
those
set we need to set up as a live show or something thereof.
Heck yeah.
Live-ish.
With a,
You
live.
know,
Well,
maybe
no,
we'll
we'd
put
have
a-
to be live. But
we could put a 5-minute delay on it so I can beep stuff out.
right. Well, whatever.
You know what? You guys should come to Feast of the Go Queen tomorrow.
So, yeah,
It's going to be a good time.
it'll be a smash.
Yeah, there's going to be fire when
Fire
And
is
goat.
always good.
The sun comes down.
What combination is better than fire and goats?
My favorite photo of me when I was a kid was me
Like
at
goats,
a
we're talking
petting
about
zoo. There was
goats,
a
right?
there was a goat with me, and the goat was looking at me, and I was looking at the camera like, what is this
What is this
beautiful
goat?
creature? Like,
Yeah,
what? Love it.
there's an adorable picture.
I love
for
that
sure.
photo. That's my
And the goat was like, "I can tempt this one to love my
I'm-
lord Satan."
absolutely like
Yes.
this is a good one here.
Hey, man.
It's a bad idea. All right, let's keep drinking the bourbon. All right, back to the book.
Right. Yes,
sir.
sir. Why fantasy?
Oh,
Ooh,
I forgot about that.
that's a great question because I mean, I think to some degree we all kind of put like maybe our like ambitions and like in fantasies of maybe what we want to aspire to or to even do or accomplish in our own life, and maybe if there's not ways that we can so easily do it now, you can kind of project that, and fantasy is a way to kind of do that because you can take some pretty cool
And you can do some really cool things with fantasy, I think, just because think of the term fantasy. Like it's something that we kind of like try to escape to, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
we all live in this world, like maybe we don't kind of always want to be in it, and so
No.
it is definitely a nice escape, but then
Yeah.
it's another way to kind of like I think like harness some other elements such as like strength and power, and maybe things like if we do feel kind of powerless maybe in this particular world or things like that, or we want to like learn ways to kind of strengthen ourselves, like, you know, gain this fortitude of as we're going through life. Fantasy is a nice way to kind of do that because you can kind of resonate with certain similarities or just things to that nature and take that into yourself and use that to kind of go forward through in life. And I like it for that respect.
Yeah. And that's in that sense we kind of keep things grounded.
Yeah.
You know, with at least with our brand of fantasy, if you will.
Because fantasy
That's funny that you say that you use fantasy to keep things grounded, but I get it.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, because fantasy is a definitely because you can go either way. Really, you can go up into the ether, or you can be kind of well grounded. And for us, with our approach to fantasy, is taking a well grounded root with it all.
Yeah.
You know,
See, and I love fantasy, right? And I would love to be able to write a fantasy story, but my for whatever reason my comfort zone is in science fiction. And my take on that is that if you do a far future sci-fi series or an alternate universe sci-fi story, then it might as well be fantasy and magic because you can do anything and you can say there's a machine that does that, or there's nanobots that do that, or there's an AI that's doing that, and it can still do whatever you want. It's almost like it's another form of fantasy but you're couching it within the conceptual basis of science and speculative science and high tech machinery. Steampunk's very much like that, right? Steampunk is really fantasy, but it's fantasy with a lot of chugging machines.
Right.
Yes.
And-
Mechanical. Yes.
Yes, and lightning bolts. Plenty of lightning bolts.
And you don't want to kind of lean onto that to just kind of like answer all your questions like, oh, it's fantasy, just kind of like go along with it. Well, we take like kind of a well-grounded approach where it's just like, maybe if you have these thoughts and feelings in normal life, what would you want to do? Like, yes, I would like to have some power that would like make me push something forward or, just something that might just be as simple as that to something that might be fantastical as like, I'd like to rewrite all of reality at this moment because I think maybe we all might kind of want to do that right now.
Right.
At times, yeah. For
At definite times in this current place right now.
So obviously music has been a big inspiration for you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Did you ever play tabletop role-playing games when you were younger?
I did. I actually was really big into D&D when I was like 11 to 13, but then it's kind of one of those things where it becomes all encompassing. So
Yes.
you have to kind of figure out where you're going to designate your time.
What about any like World of Darkness stuff? Vampire the Masquerade, Magic the Ascension, or
So it's really funny because I didn't really know too much about that until I started getting into makeup when I did the Magic the Gathering, and I did like a look on the gingerbread golem or whatever it was.
Yes.
I was like, that's so freaking cool. That's like a collector's card that's worth so many hundreds of dollars.
Many
I'm like,
hundreds of
Right.
dollars.
but I did a look based
Some
on
of
that.
those original
what
cards
about
are-
video games?
Video games left.
Oh,
But OG video games. But then also I'm very particular. You like more than I do. I'm like Sonic, OG
Mario.
OG Mario.
What about
But then
like
if we're
Final
getting-
Fantasy?
well,
I
That was
never
a
got
good
into
one, though.
Final Fantasy.
Really?
There's
I
so
only
many people
played-
that did.
I only
Yes.
played
got
played
very-
like maybe like Final Fantasy 7 and 8, and then I was like, okay, I kind of had my fill.
I was like
Uh,
Onimusho back in like PlayStation 2 days, but what really hooked me was Katamari Damacy. Do you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Katamari is
yeah.
amazing. I love
Yeah.
it. I don't care. Like I will
Katamari's
like I this is kind of things that I would think about when I was like in like elementary
Yeah.
school when I'm like riding the bus, being like, yeah, if I had this like thing, I would just like roll up all over all this stuff. And so when it actually became a thing, I was like, who is in my brain? This is freaking amazing. But I keep my stuff pretty narrow.
But it's cool you mentioned video games, just because like at least for me, like when it came to like writing for both Fragments and the next volume, Reflections, I hit a block a few times, and what it took for me to come out of it is actually turning to video games, just to kind of like step away.
Kind of cleanse the palate.
Yeah, that's looking back, that's kind of what it kind of boils down to, and I play a lot of like the Assassin's Creed games.
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I like mainly like, I mean, you can't mess with like number 2. Like Assassin's Creed 2 was like cream of the crop for sure. But like I really got into actually Assassin's Creed Origins actually in ancient Egypt, because that's I think and to another degree, oh, I'm blanking on the name of the one that they did in the UK with the never mind. It was Origins, and it was number 2 for sure, and to an extent Black Flag.
Okay.
That's where I would kind of turn to kind of try and embellish in like the dialogue, like the actual writing that takes place in those games. That kind of gave me like this kind of like instance of where like, okay, open the floodgates again and kind of like embellish in how like this dialogue is written, because as far as my style goes and as far as writing, I begin with dialogue to try and like craft a chapter of whatever characters that I'm playing around with. And once I nail down like the actual exchanges of the dialogue, then after that I'm able to craft the the movement and the descriptions of everything else that's going around, like surrounding those scenes and stuff like that. So
See, that's funny because my process is similar, where I figure out what is the message or the lesson or whatever that I want to get out in this chapter, and I do the dialogue first,
right.
and then after the dialogue helps me to get an idea of what the scene will look like, and so then I craft that. Here's the room that they're in, or the garden that they're in, or whatever it is, right?
Right.
And then from there, it's like, okay, while they're having this conversation in this place, what is their body language? How are they moving? What is the second conversation that is taking place through body language that is complementing what it is that they're saying in this particular environment?
Exactly.
So I'm very close to what you do.
That's very interesting because, like, for me, it's quite a bit different because I have to immerse myself in what is going on, the experience and such, because it's almost theatrical. And if I'm not there in the moment to start it from the very beginning, it's not happening. And for me, interestingly enough, where I get a lot of my inspiration from is I'm running. I'm on the elliptical, not like running on the street so much because like my knees can't really handle that. I'm usually on the elliptical for that. But there'll be like certain pieces of music that I'll listen to that'll just like I let my mind go because I could just like take my glasses off. I don't need to see anything because I'm seeing it in my head, and I don't care about anyone who's around me. I'm just like I'm listening to music and I'm going, and then I'll immerse in the scene, and it all starts from that scene, and it all kind of trickles down. So it's really interesting to kind of just see the differences where maybe like. I kind of start like I start with description. It's always what's around me, and he's very dialogue heavy in a way to where like the both of our approaches complement each other.
Yep.
When we write, we'll both always kind of pick our respective sections that we write, but we'll always then review what we've each have done, and then lend our own perspectives from that. To kind of yin to the yang kind of thing.
Yeah,
like
we complement each other's styles, essentially.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's really cool.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the themes in the book.
Yeah.
So that we can tie them to the characters, right? So I jotted down a couple notes of some themes that I pulled out, but you're the authors too, so you can either kind of tag on to those or add something to them as much as you're willing to prior to, any of our readers reading the story. But there's three that rose to the top for me. One of them being memory, one of them being identity, and one of them for me being manipulation.
Ooh, juice.
So theme wise, those there's other things too in there, right? Like there's themes of adolescence, right? There's themes of growing up. There's themes of challenges and manipulation. Can we start there?
Absolutely, yes.
So that's one of the
powerful things in life.
Well, it is.
That's how I got my wife.
Because clearly. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
You're an idiot.
Did you and Mommy meet?
I blackmailed her. Yes, it is.
Why, yes, thank you. Yes.
Clearly someday. It's so beautiful. Sometime late at night when Mommy and Daddy have gone to sleep, I like to sneak over to the next door neighbor's house and blackmail them.
Oh, goodness. I actually saw a side tangent again, like these little kiddos that were like 12 and 13 trying to meet like kiddo. Someone was manipulating him, but the parents were in the background of this. They're like, hey, your kids are going to come out late at night. And then they're like, no, they're not. And they're like, they are. Oh my goodness, I couldn't have kids right now because like I would just
we're exhausted.
Go, yeah.
You wouldn't be able to sleep.
Where does manipulation live for both of you in this story?
Oh, a lot of it with
I mean, we could pick out like examples of it, but where is it rooted? Oh,
Celestine.
Sure.
Celestine, because they're a bunch of manipulative.
Well, that's the root of it. That
Yep.
is the Celestine in the book is essentially the root of it.
Yep.
Not spoiler heavy, of course, but
Because you should already be able to figure that out on your own.
But yeah,
And you can share as much as you want within that theme, of course. You know,
of course, yeah,
Right.
yeah. For as far as like the realm of Celestine goes, uh, the how would you say, like the grasp of like this knowledge that they are trying to keep from
Hidden. It's like secretive knowledge, right?
basically, yes, yeah, they're essentially just trying to just keep the keep their grasp on this knowledge from the masses, essentially, just so that they basically maintain this restrictive knowledge of the realms that are outside of their own.
yeah.
Yeah. So
And you kind of think it like when you have something the way you think you got it, you want it that way, you're going to keep it that way. And so you kind of construct your boundaries around that. But naturally, when it comes to trying to contain forces outside of yourself, you're going to want to expand, So it's natural that any kind of manipulation hopefully will kind of take its course, essentially. But it's the beginning of that course that's really the most detrimental. And then when you're witnessing it, it's sad.
yeah,
And it's done with a purpose, because to see people take advantage of somebody else to manipulate them, it's pretty awful. We see it sometimes day to day, maybe things that we can't really like step into, and
Sure.
things we definitely can't get to because things, whatever. But as you see it kind of happening, it's pretty impactful, I would say. And you want to root for that, like, to not happen. You're like, what are you doing? Why is this happening?
Well, it occupies a couple different spaces, right? Like there's emotional manipulation, there's knowledge manipulation, there's physical space manipulation,
There's bourbon
there's
manipulation.
bourbon manipulation,
Mhm.
You mean how I still
there's
haven't
random
managed to
thoughts
have like
manipulation.
That's right. That's right. And the bottle's gone at this point.
I don't know how that
Yeah, you've only
happened.
had one
I've
glass.
only had one glass.
So if you had to compare two characters and the manipulation that a form of manipulation that they kind of manifest.
okay,
Let's pick two. Let's pick Rachel and let's pick Vaughn.
mm.
Is there manipulation in both of those characters? If there is, what is the difference? If there's not, what in your author world shows you to remove that manipulation from them? Does that make sense?
It does. Particularly between Rachel and Vaughn, I wouldn't say there's no real manipulation at play, so to speak, just because they are so removed. Like Vaughn is from Deva,
Right.
and Rachel is Earthbound, right?
Right.
But
But her
Her circumstances are essentially manipulating
her
her
into the
train of thought. Yeah, that's exactly what it
yeah,
is.
because Navrin is occupying that space.
yes,
Exactly.
Navrin is essentially within her, yes.
Right.
And
As a vessel.
yes, yeah, and she's there for a reason.
Yeah.
Which also speaks to Navrin's circumstance, just because, without getting too spoiler heavy, Navrin is essentially a subject to
Probably the
Her
greatest
own.
manipulation.
her own manipulation as well.
Yeah.
Just within
within her own within her own journey. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I
So-
mean, isn't the most common manipulation manipulating yourself?
I would say so.
Choosing to believe what you want to believe, what you want something to be.
That deserves a cheers.
I would, yes.
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 I think that's worth exploring. I think what's interesting about the depth of the novel itself
Mhm.
is and I mean maybe if we tease out that manipulation,
Sure.
but I think there's something else within that kind of that little Easter egg, I suppose, that's within that kind of that self. I don't even know how to articulate it. Like an idea of self-worth or an idea of self-awareness, maybe.
It's like belief as
Yeah.
well.
Like maybe self-belief in there, because
Yeah.
you have characters, each of them. I mean, all the way up the line, right? And we haven't even mentioned some of the characters. I mean, one of my favorite characters was, and I just remember, was Fallon.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Fallon's great.
Fallon's awesome.
Yeah, Fallon's
But
great.
then I think about the breadth of the characters that we have read in other novels.
Sure.
And a self-awareness or a self-belief, maybe a belief system in their self. So Rachel is the quintessential angsty, rebellious, what is happening to me?
Yes.
And not
Teen,
wanting to kind of like be
not wanting to face that. Her brother,
Jacoby.
Jacoby, sorry.
Jacoby, yeah.
Jacoby, is that quintessential, I love you, sister, and I'm going to support you, but I'm also going to push you, but I'm
Right.
also going to ignore you kind of sibling, right?
Exactly.
And Trish as a friend, who was Trisha originally, right? And became
It was
Trisha?
originally Trisha. The funny thing, for a side note, is that I had worked with a colleague of mine. Her name was Trish, but I kept calling her Trisha because of the book.
And they-
And she was just like, "Stop calling me Trisha." I was
Trish.
I'm just gonna.
I'm sorry.
Her name is Trish now because I'm just.
So she's more
can't do
powerful.
that.
She's more powerful, right? Trish is
Trish-
more receptive.
Trish,
As an individual, yes.
that's the dynamic that we created between Trish and Rachel, just because
Rachel is
Rachel is a little bit.
pushing.
Rachel is a bit more
hesitant,
Yes.
chaotic,
Yes.
chaotic, hesitant.
Yes,
Whereas like Trish is
cigarette smoker kind of.
yeah, that's Rachel for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Whereas Trish is a bit more, I guess, welcoming, or at least like her curiosity
Yeah.
is more prevalent to like what is going on.
How did you land there? What was that? Was that intentional? Did that just happen?
It's kind of because if you just think about like different people as you're growing up, like, which is the nice thing for me, it's like, I was, spoiler alert, maybe the smoker who was quite rebellious at
Okay.
times and things like that, but have had very welcoming friends who would be willing to listen and be a bit more
And embrace you
receptive.
for that.
Exactly.
Sure,
And
right.
then and to kind of think like, there's no two people who are alike in your journey in life, but even at the time of, you might think people are so much different than you, but you can still kind of relate or support each other on your journeys in life.
Yeah.
And that was probably for me the most impactful, I think, I would say. And so that's where the idea that kind of comes along, because you can have two totally different people kind of pointing maybe in different directions in life, but your connection to each other harnesses in one way.
Exactly.
And you embrace and respect and, work people, work yourselves through kind of things, but you still have your own directions that you're kind of pulling because that's your place in life.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and while everybody is different and everybody's journey is different, tropes are a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes what you see in particularly fantasy stories, particularly a story where you've got like a chosen one kind of character, oftentimes at the beginning of the story, that chosen one character starts off as the one who is the least powerful, that is the most manipulated. And they kind of, as they go on through their journey, they're going, well, this couldn't be me. Well, this can't be happening. Well, this isn't possible. And the people around them are going, oh, you don't see it yet. Oh, you're not there yet. Why don't you understand that you're the one who can, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's a trope that happens again and again and again. Do you feel like you're following that trope to a certain extent, or are you trying to deviate from it? Didn't even occur?
In a sense, I think we try to kind of like, in hindsight at least, we kind of try to deviate from that just by harping on the theme of memory that we mentioned earlier, just because we kind of embellish in the fact that, our memories are what make us.
Yep.
It is what frames our personalities, our motivations, our ambitions, for that matter.
And it could be like even what you choose to remember. You can put stuff off and be like, I'm not remembering that, and that could be your point in
That's
life.
right.
Yeah.
And we can't escape them either.
We can't escape them, but we can box them up into a little nice compartmentalized
We sure
section
can.
in
And
our
that's-
brain, and let it do its thing.
yep.
But that might not be the most healthiest thing, but that
But
is
they're there.
they're there.
Yeah. And
but we are all kind of
Well, and Rachel struggles with that. Like she struggles with that. Both of them do. Trish, Trish is more receptive,
Yes.
right? Rachel is less receptive.
Absolutely.
Because think about it, if you're in a situation where all of a sudden you're shifting memories, right? You're in one place, and then all of a sudden, you're in their minds. They're hallucinating.
Exactly.
They're like, "What the hell is happening to us now? Are we like? Do I have? I mean, am I sick? Do I have a tumor? Do I what?
Yeah, and that was it was
you're actually the king
like,
of England.
yeah, and I'm not saying, hey, check out the very first iteration because I'm not very proud of it, but there's more points to where we were just talking where like there was actually like, am I maybe mentally ill from what I'm going through? Because that's a whole other topic, and and in a lot of different situations. I mean, it's definitely a sensitive topic, especially nowadays, than maybe before in a great awareness way. But when you're trying to figure out things for yourself, and you maybe only have like your same kind of colleagues that are in like, how to say, like your same realm of understanding, and you're trying to figure it out, you don't know what is going on. I liked to kind of like bring that up in there a bit, at least the first way that I kind of, when I wrote the first iteration of Fragments, essentially, because you're kind of really trying to piece everything together, but like piece it together as being an actual like, high school student, like, like, is there something wrong with me? Like, because of these experiences that are happening, essentially. So,
well, I think you do that really well, and and I think you need to hear that as authors, because I think, when you're in a high school setting, and you've created characters that occupy that setting. And we've all felt this too. I mean, I felt this in high school. I'm sure you felt this in high school.
I was a golden god in high school.
I'm sure you were.
I smoked cigarettes and would never want to be part of high school.
But I think it's important to hear.
I ruled the roost.
I think it's important to hear that students don't always identify with things, and maybe they can identify with these characters, right? They can be like, okay, I am a Rachel, or I am a Bond, or I am whatever I am in this. I think there's a wide spread of characters in the novel.
I was waiting for you to say I am a golden god. Just say it once for me.
I'm just ignoring my co-host. I am a golden god.
I am a golden god.
Right?
Yeah. You got it.
We figure we're going to be captured on the Ring photos one of these nights.
So many Ring cameras.
There's a ring there. There's a ring there.
I wouldn't have it any other way, honestly.
That's right. So many Ring cameras.
But I think it resonates with a particular age group.
It does.
Sure. Naturally, fantasy is a popular genre amongst high school students or young adult students. Fantasy has been. What got me into
who doesn't
reading,
want to be something more you're 16?
Who doesn't want to?
That's the idea.
Who doesn't want a Kamehameha? I mean, like Dragon Ball Z is
that's
like
the idea.
Right? Who doesn't want to like mind swap in a memory sequence or whatever?
Yeah.
And experience another world. I mean, those are the things that draw us into the unknown that we don't know about.
Exactly, that make you kind of think and ponder.
And why can't we do that, right? Like, why? What have we lost? Like, and you think about all the stories of the world, the ancient world. I mean, you think about the TV shows like Ancient Aliens and things like that. And some of the things that we don't know, like, what do we not know? There's something we're missing, right?
Right.
There's something we're missing.
Yeah.
And
yeah, in these positions that Rachel and Trish have. They only have like just a snapshot of these other people's lives, and like there's only so much that they can do to like kind of piece things together.
That's right,
and to kind of remain intact at the same time.
Exactly.
Because they're wondering what the hell's going on.
Yeah, and then it's like, how do you like deal with something that's uncomfortable? Like, are you the kind of person that just like ha 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 laughs it away and it's just like inside like, oh my god, what is going on?
Right.
Or you're just like, all right, let's do this. You know, like everybody reacts to situations differently, so it's nice to kind of have that. At least through Rachel and Trish, it's this duality. Like
it is a duality.
Everyone is different, and in life, that's kind of the way it goes. And
so showing up in the fire.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. What was the character that visited Vaughn in the fire?
It was actually Trish, the one that's inhabiting her, is Luena.
Luena. Thank you.
Yeah.
So
Trish.
So that whole.
Which I'm kind of having a little bit
fire
of feeling through with a fire over there.
It's kind of cool. Yeah. It's kind of cool. I'm just going to throw that out there just as a cool device.
Sure, that was a really fun chapter.
How are we doing on time here?
Oh, we're at an hour 20.
Hey, perfect.
Oh,
Let's keep
crap.
going.
Let's
We're going
just
to keep
make
going
it
for a little bit. We're going to keep going for a little bit. Can you talk about Tobias for a little bit?
Of course, yeah.
Share a little bit.
Wait. Can we talk about Tobias for a little bit?
Oh, that's right. I don't want to leave him out.
So
There's so many characters. People, listeners, you need to pick up this book. Do yourself a favor and pick it up. Is it in audiobook format yet or no?
No,
not
because
yet.
so the funny
We're-
thing is we really wanted Misha Collins to do the audiobook,
Right.
and then we wanted Vin Diesel, and then we wanted Keith David,
David,
and then we
sure.
would just really need
Aspirational.
so much money
Right.
to
Yeah,
do
right,
any
yeah.
of
You just
this,
kinda have to
and
figure
we
it
don't
out.
know
I'm
what we're doing.
Keith David just got his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. He's
Oh,
not going to be
silly.
available anymore.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
Okay.
No, Keith David is
Maybe not.
actually quite freaking awesome. Just like with Vin Diesel, like they both have Has Been Hotel. I mean,
Oh
like,
yeah.
so there's some indie like insights and things
Yeah,
that I think
yeah.
like even that you're a big name, but you still support the indie community. Like
That's what I'm saying, right?
That-
Well,
That's
gargoyles. You know, he was.
I love
He was-
freaking
Was he on
Goliath.
the? Oh,
Right.
yeah,
I
he
wish I was
Goliath in
Demona.
Gargoyles.
I was
That's
like,
right.
I love you.
He was
Also,
amazing.
well, Marina Sirtis was Demona, right? So, like Counselor Troy from Star Trek: The
I
Next
forgot about
Generation.
that.
She was
Amazing.
I got-
Demona.
I mean, I got really,
The guy who plays Loki, that was Jonathan Frakes, right?
Sure.
I got really,
I can't name drop from too much longer because I suck at names.
I mean, I
but, like,
really-
I just those were like growing up.
and for me, I really got into Keith David, like just when he
Spawn.
voiced Spawn
Yep.
in the HBO series.
Right.
That did it for me.
Yep.
And then he appeared again in Halo, of course. You know, like
So I didn't play
growing up.
Halo, but it was definitely Gargoyles and then Spawn.
See,
Gargoyle,
for
of
me,
course.
Keith David is all live action stuff. Did you ever see They Live?
Mm-mm.
No, I have not.
They Live is a John Carpenter sci-fi movie. It stars Roddy Piper
I
from
love
the
it. I
WWF
love
before
it.
he passed away,
Mhm.
and Keith David.
Roddy
It's
Piper.
about aliens who have
Love it.
infiltrated Earth hundreds of years ago, and they've been manipulating society ever since. And the only way that you can find out the truth is that there's a pair of glasses that you put the glasses on and it strips away all the illusions, right? And so Roddy Piper has been given the glasses. He's seen what's happening, how human beings are being manipulated, and now he's trying to get his best friend, Keith David, to put on the glasses.
It's very interesting.
There is a 15-minute fight scene between him and Keith David where the only dialogue is, "Put on the glasses! Put it on the glasses! Put them on! I'm not putting them up!"
That's
For
true.
15 minutes. It is the longest fight scene ever filmed that is not a boxing movie.
That's amazing. Oh my god.
It is fantastic.
Wow.
Well, and then also The Thing, starring Kurt Russell and Keith David.
Oh yeah.
Nothing says awesome like Keith David with a flamethrower running around the Arctic. You know what I mean?
That's right.
See, there we go. There are the cheats.
So, Tobias. Talk about Tobias.
Yes. So Tobias, what is your question? Or just what he came about?
I want to know how he came about.
That really
Because he
came
came
to-
later. He came later.
He
That
came-
really
he
they
came
really
later.
Yeah, he
definitely.
came later.
And he added a whole depth of element of need for
Yes.
Rachel.
Yeah, it really came down to Kamiko's involvement, just because he needed to find a way to kind of steer things in a way to where he could protect Navrin. And
And all that actually happened through was Vaughn because he's just like, we have a common goal now that, kind of working towards the same goal.
yeah,
So we need like a viable person who this person, so
someone who could be trustworthy.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's kind of how.
And the
that came
motorcycle?
about. Yeah, the motorcycle was all me because I actually, before I had my, license to drive a vehicle, I got my motorcycle license first. I didn't get my actual license though, because, that's what it is.
Tobias is a likable guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's
It's the one in the story that you really know is just
He's kind of a victim of circumstance.
I
Because
mean,
Authentic.
most guys with a
Authentically
motorcycle
so.
are likable, Steven. That's why I keep telling you to get a Harley.
but all,
But the funny thing too is that it is Kamiko who is acting
Yeah.
through him.
yes. Right.
But
Right.
Yeah.
but not all of the time. There's some of it, yes.
Some of it, yes.
Some of it, yes.
Well, is he the one having a hard time because of the barriers that are put? There's a
Yeah,
protector
there's
or
like
barrier
there's
stuff
like these like mystical barriers
Yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of came
that
back
block
from
them or throw
Celestina.
them out, right?
Yeah,
Like,
they kind of just
expel
them.
Yes.
Expel
Yep.
them, yeah.
Yep.
But that's the really cool thing that we wanted to explore with having the character of Tobias and Kamiko kind of blending together because as you probably remember, like Kamiko was able to inhibit his body through this dark art that he knew of basically through his father, right? And
I learned it from you, Dad. Okay, I learned it from you.
basically,
It's all
yeah.
your fault.
And so through that, we kind of tried to illustrate how they kind of blend into each other.
And it's someone innocent like Tobias that really has nothing to do with any of this, and now he's just like kind of getting hijacked.
Yeah,
Right.
Tobias is the
Right.
innocent in this instance.
In this whole thing, right.
Right. And Kamiko is the one who's more or less after himself, right? And so as far as like his mind goes, blending with Tobias's, you kind of see this bridge that's happening that he at least at one point acknowledged that could happen, but as it's happening, then you come to find like the repercussions of it, you know, of
A bit
him-
later.
a bit later.
But if you're like, you're inhabiting this, totally innocent person, but then all of what you're experiencing is kind of reminiscent on things that you've experienced with the same group of people because, as you come to learn, I mean, there's been, recollections of, Kumiko with Lobina and Navarin, and there's this trio that's kind of a thing. And so he's experiencing the same thing, but through Tobias and Trish and Rachel, and it's kind of like a crazy circumstance for him. And
I mean, the whole book is a nice wrapped up package of deja vu.
exactly,
yeah,
It's brilliant.
yeah.
It really is.
That's a really
It
good
really
thing.
is. I think there is. I mean, it's just a nice package of experiences that I think the reader will enjoy, and we probably should land this episode
That's what I was
so
about to
that
say.
we
yeah.
can get to the oops-isode.
Yeah.
So typically at the end of the episode, we do, and you've listened to some of our episodes, we do final thoughts. We do final thoughts on the book.
Yes.
We do final thoughts on the bourbon. So I'm gonna open final thoughts first to Mark and myself because we are the non-authors, and then we'll open final thoughts to you on the book, and then we'll do final thoughts on the bourbon. Final thoughts, Mark.
You go first.
The Chimera strain. Okay, so I think my final thought, and maybe it's a lot of final thoughts, but I'm trying to wrap it up into one, is what I took from the book is a more, how do I articulate it? A more, see, you make me question it. And I mentioned relevance early in the episode, but I think there's a more layered relevance for me, right? I think what the novel did for me in the reading of it was took me on a journey through questions of what it means to be in between two different spaces in my life, right? Because I think we have characters that are occupying two different spaces.
Yep.
And we can look at Rachel and Trish as the prime examples of that, right? They're themselves, but they're also occupied by someone else using them as a vessel.
And not only that, they are also the ones that are occupying two different spaces without even being here,
right? So for me, and whether this is my interpretation or something that you have talked about as a married author couple, I don't know. But I think what you should hear as an author is that this is a potential impact that a reader might have. Is it gives you a sense of what are the different spaces that you occupy in your life, right?
Yeah.
And that could be anything. That could be related to literature. That could be related to non-literature, right? It could be related to, I mean, there are many times that, and I've told you this many times, Mark, that, I go through my teaching life and then I have days where I'm like, wow, I have just major imposter syndrome here. And I'm like, how do I deserve to be a teacher? Am I actually doing something for these students, right? And then there are other days where I'm like, yeah, I am on fire as a teacher, and I am doing something for these students. And Rachel, Rachel Marisek remains my favorite character, but Rachel is in that. She's not quite sure. Is she a good sister? Is she a good daughter? Is she a good friend? And who the hell is Navarin? Right? Like, how does she know? She doesn't even know what's going on in that thing.
Exactly.
So for me, it's that duality, I guess. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for.
Yes.
It's that duality.
Precisely.
That and maybe, and you might not know this as the authors because you were the ones that wrote it, but this is the impact that it could have on the reader. It gives them a sense of maybe that duality that, hey, I can be okay if I'm juggling two different parts of my identity. So that's my final thought.
I really like that.
Follow that one.
That's cool.
So let me ask you a question.
I don't want a question. I want your final thought.
No.
I want your final thought.
Final thought might be a question.
No,
You did this with Z.
it's not in our. It's not in our format.
Yes, I did.
Why? Yes, you did.
Yes, I did. So as you said, that they're occupying these two spaces at the same time, and the idea is that those spaces are separate, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Except they're not. They're connected.
They're parallel. Yes.
They're parallel, but they're not just parallel. You've got, essentially, in some cases, you've got two souls occupying the same body or occupying the same space at certain times, right? So is it about the separation, or is it the liminal spaces in between where they are conjoined?
It's funny you say that because, in a sense, it's both. Because they are these two Celestine guardians, let's call them, Navarin and Lowena,
Mm-hmm.
found themselves within Rachel and Trish
Mm-hmm.
for a certain reason. Part of it is proximity, but also because of how
They interact, right? Like
Because
that's who they are.
Yeah, it's because of how Rachel and Trish interact.
Mm-hmm.
It mirrors much of how Navarin and Lowena interact as well.
And on a side note from that too, really quickly, is that like I remember there was a couple of comments that we got like, oh, how could like Trish and Rachel like they don't really seem to be friends because they do this X, Y, and Z, but it's just like I think you have to kind of get over maybe what you would think is a quintessential like
Because they quip
the
at each
banter
other.
the banter between two
Yeah,
people,
the
like
banter.
even just like
Yeah.
with what we do, it's like
Oh,
like
yeah.
But
I
they
love
draw
you.
to each other. They draw to each
Yeah,
other.
but it's and it's like that's what makes things interesting. So you
Right.
don't just want like a happy, stale not romantic, but like I guess, just like a relationship between the two people, like, oh, I like you and you like me. Your ideas are so great. Yeah, I believe they're so great because so are mine. Yes, yours are.
Sure, like you
You
could
don't
be
want that boring crap. Because
Yeah,
Stories
it's
become
like
the
you-
best friends.
Right.
exactly that's the
Whipping, exactly.
Yeah,
It's-
you-
it's-
You know,
with when it
Stephen
comes
used to be so jealous of me because I'm handsome and a genius and I have hair and all those things. But eventually he just learned to love me. Isn't that
I'm
true?
like Sean Connery.
That's the
There you go.
Sean.
Sean Connery.
Sean Connery.
Sardos.
Have you ever wanted to watch Sean Connery wearing a twin gun pouch and a mandai gun? Watch it, Zardosh.
So,
man.
give us your final thoughts on the novel as the authors.
Yeah.
And obviously you have a larger.
Wait. I'm not done.
You had a question. You're done.
I'm not done.
Finish up. Then.
I had my
Finish your
question.
final thought.
Now I have my statement.
Okay.
Go for it.
Okay.
Chin
right?
chin.
Chin.
Chin, chin.
I still have yet to have my second.
I mean, I'm out of
Oh,
bourbon.
yeah.
Okay,
Second ace.
Part of my final thought will be another bourbon.
Okay, there you
No,
go.
not yet. Now we got that for the oops episode, mon ami.
Because I
Hey, grab the no. Grab the small bottle there of the tastings over to the right. There's still number 2. Number 2 was our choice.
there you go.
Which one was
Because
number
I am
two?
bone dry.
It should say number 2 on it.
Oh, well. Stephen? Oh, I get it.
The
Oh,
book
it's tiny.
has a powerful message for people who open themselves up to it, and I think it requires sharing this episode.
That's beautiful.
There's not
It just
much.
it
There's not much
resonates,
left.
right? It resonates, right? It just resonates, and I think there's
That's-
and Mark and I often talk about.
Do you have
touch.
an empty glass?
No, I'm fine.
Okay, then you get more.
Oh,
Do you have an empty glass?
I have it.
Mark and I
That
talk
was-
about touch points in novels.
Yes.
Like at certain points throughout the course of a novel,
Sure.
where do you touch it? Like where does it actually cross over your life? Right.
Mm.
For me, it's the teacher in me that recognizes some of the challenges of the adolescence that are in the book.
Yeah.
Right. Mark brought up a good point earlier when he questioned you about why fantasy. Fantasy is the first book that got me into reading as a young child.
Yeah, and
Right?
fantasy is a nice I mean, just in general, like a nice umbrella term because you can kind of relate it to anything. For me, it was anime,
Yeah.
comics, manga.
Right.
For the
Things
for the
that
big-
brought you into that.
Yes, because I mean it's funny to kind of mention it, but when I was in high school, that was the kind of thing that kind of kept me
Yeah.
together.
Yes.
But
It
I
holds
need
you.
it does, and all of that is
We
a
have to be held.
nice exactly, especially when you don't really know where to kind of get that
Well,
support
there's so much
from.
around us.
Exactly, and
Your final statement.
Ah, yes, my statement. So, if you might have noticed that over the course of the last 20 minutes, I've been kind of hitting on the idea of tropes rather heavily.
Mhm.
And that's because I have a suggestion. I feel like your story has a lot of diving into a trope and then finding a way, either subtly or more overt, of subverting that trope. And if you continue on down that road, I think that's a good thing. However, what Stephen and I have seen more often than not over the course of the last year is that what a lot of authors are starting to do now, and it's something that has worked very well for them, is you start off with a story where you are embracing a trope, then you're subverting it, and you're leading the reader down a path of, well, this person will be different because this is happening. And then at the end, they don't subvert the trope. Not with every character, not with every trope, but some of them almost break out of the pattern, and then they don't. And the question is whether or not then it's not so much, oh, well, they didn't break out the pattern, so therefore they failed. It's, were they ever meant to break out of the pattern in the first place? Or did they have to stretch the limits in order to understand that this was actually where they were supposed to be the entire time? That's just my thought.
That's your final thought.
I really like your final thought because to be kind of unrefined with things, the whole vision of the story really was to tell a story, and to even kind of define what tropes were. I was like, what the hell is a trope?
Right.
It was very hard for me to kind of even describe that because I just think it, like, I was so kind of like consumed with what we were creating. I didn't even know how to like accurately like express what that was, and now after the book was out, I'm like, oh crap, what tropes do we really have? Because I don't even know.
That's true. Like,
so we had to kind of backtrack and like kind of study what we written and be like, oh, okay, that's
You
one.
as authors had to
Yes.
self-examine
Yes, we did. It was a bit
what
hard.
you wanted to do.
exactly.
Well, not just
Yeah.
Or even where you
just-
landed.
That's exactly what it was. Because just to kind of like tell people what it was, because with where we are with Fragments, that's not where things are going to continue to go. Like obviously, as
Yeah,
excited.
if we didn't illustrate earlier, which I don't think we did, Fragments falls in the middle, roughly in the middle of the overall arc that we're writing together. So
Okay.
yeah, so we kind of
Okay.
slap
Okay.
you in with all the drama
Okay.
to where like how everything got all jacked up to be where it was, and now Earth is involved in everything.
right.
And then as we kind of move forward from there, when you get to the end of Fragments, naturally you can understand that it becomes prequel material, and that is no secret because as we are currently in the Kickstarter phase of things
Yeah.
with book 2.
Well, essentially, by the time you get to the end of Fragments, you realize that things are bound to change, and history will change, and the future will change in turn.
Well, you don't know
So
that part just yet. You're just going to learn how everything got just as screwed up as it got
You
where
definitely
we are.
You definitely learned how things got screwed up to where they are in Fragments, for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, we are seeing the author process play out right here.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
not
not
right now,
the
right?
cups.
Right
You are.
here on
There's
this
gonna be some young
episode.
You,
Paul.
you absolutely are. Yeah, this is. Yeah.
You know why, Stephen? Because my final thoughts challenge conventions.
I love it.
Yeah. How about final thoughts on the bourbon?
I would love some more.
Well,
Actually, I really like
I
the
mean-
way that it happened when like the notes actually changed once you hit the ice in there. And
It's
it's not
interesting
because
with
it
the
like
water.
watered it down. I don't want to
No.
say that it did that at all. It actually brought out some more like harmonious notes.
So there
where-
are some. If you've never eaten
Right.
at the Center Cut in Grays Lake, you need to head over there. It's the restaurant that was almost right next to the Beer Bazaar.
Yeah, we see it all the time.
Right,
Yeah.
so it's
It's a
worth it.
steakhouse.
It's worth it. There's a
Yes.
couple of nice restaurants there too. Like Grays Lake has some nice ones.
With a top-notch bar.
But the bartender, the chief bartender, the head bartender, she's a very focused on bourbon,
Yes.
and
she's very technical.
She will have a bourbon neat and then a bourbon with a little bit of
Mineral
water in it.
So bourbon neat means
Versus bourbon neat is this with no ice in it.
Oh gotcha,
No
gotcha.
ice.
No ice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now we've done the ice, which is tap water ice.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
But she will put in a mineral water into the bourbon, which has a much different impact on the taste and the
Remember
flavor.
when we did San Pellegrino?
This is
We did
where-
San Pellegrino in a bourbon. San Pellegrino being
It's so
the
good.
mineral water
That was so
This is-
good.
in the bourbon.
Okay.
It's
I
nice.
love those experiments.
It's really
and that kind of
nice.
things. That is
It's really cool.
Pretty freaking cool. That's just like
So
the
you like the
gardening.
bourbon? It's like gardening.
You,
It's like
you
your
just experiment
yes.
with different types of
Well,
things.
because-
final thoughts for
What-
you on the bourbon.
Oh, it was. I mean, for one thing, it was such an appropriate choice, Angel's Envy,
Yes.
because of the Rebel
Yes.
scene.
Yes.
I figured that's why you picked it.
That's
Yes, I was like,
it's
why
a
did you pick it?
perfect link.
Yes.
That's all Mark.
Yep, that's
And
me.
That's all Mark.
Cheers,
I
heck yeah.
kind of
That's
do
all
the
Mark.
pairings. Yeah.
That's all
And
Mark.
it really ultimately ties into like the continuation of the series as well, which even though it delves into prequel material, Angel's Envy itself is just
It's actually
it's so appropriate. You have no idea.
Yes.
We're gonna probably be geeking
We're
out
going to
once we
enjoy
get to
that with the
once
next-
we get
Right.
to once
Yes.
we get to the second
Now,
installment.
so
you're-
what I just put into your glass is what we picked, what Stephen and I picked for the Joubert Syndrome
Right.
bottle.
And we're going to talk about that in a minute.
It's
here.
about
Yeah.
it's 117 proof,
114 proof.
114 proof.
Nice.
So it's a kick.
It's
but,
stronger for sure.
But
Yes.
I'm just going to spoil this for you. We think that it tastes like Christmas.
Christmas.
It tastes like a
So,
holiday.
and it's very interesting that you say that. And I don't know if you looked at the bottle. Did you look at the bottle? So they, oh boy.
Oof, wow.
Easy there.
Hey there, killer.
The bottle itself, Mark, and you had said this, and I had shared this with
Look,
you.
he's walking around like Keith David after 15 minutes of beating up on somebody.
it's romantic.
It says tweed on the bottle.
Tweed?
Tweed.
All right.
Oh.
Which makes me think of, getting
Winter,
yourself
yeah.
into your tweed jacket for winter.
Those
Absolutely.
are itchy.
They're very itchy. I will
They're
not wear them.
super itchy.
Yeah, it sucks.
Mm.
That's like you want to give someone like an ultimate like I don't know punishment. Here's
Itch.
some tweed.
Some
here's,
itch.
Here's some
Here's
tweed
tweed.
underwear. Like
So,
What?
I don't know.
we went.
What? We just went in a different direction.
Yeah.
I mean, I just went in a different
It's
direction.
fantasy.
We all
right?
went in different directions.
Exactly.
I guess it's
Hello, is that
fantasy,
tweed
sure.
underwear you're wearing? Why,
You've
yes,
been
I have,
naughty.
I have a scratch. Will you itch my scratch? Yes, I shall scratch your itch or whatever. Yeah.
You know what?
We're-
When I go home tonight, I'm going to tell my wife to put on the tweed panties.
I've seen worse than tweed panties. I've seen.
I don't know if I want what you've seen, but we're gonna go with.
It is the pet rat undies that have been going around on social media lately. I'm sure you've seen them. I'm just like underwear.
I have not seen that.
I try not to send them everything.
No.
So this bourbon tastes like Christmas.
Tweed, in fact, which
Tweed.
now I'm going to perpetually think about underwear. So there we go. All right, we're good. So this is your point now. We're ending the episode here now, which was about 20 minutes ago that we wanted to end the episode. That's
45
fantastic.
minutes ago.
Okay, fine, whatever.
Fair enough.
Plug your book. Tell us where we can find you on all social media,
Sure.
where we can find the book, websites, anything like that.
Yeah. So as far as like social media, you can find us pretty much anywhere at the Chimera Snare, Chimera Snare, Snare. On all the usual ones, Facebook, Instagram, all that jazz.
There's TikTok. We're trying to do better on that. But
I don't know.
Right.
TikTok's kind of a joke right now, but I mean, we might give more attention to that. We'll see.
Yeah.
But as far as like where you can find our books,
yeah, if you go to our website, thechimerasnare.com, we always list
Chimerasnare.com.
we always list where we're physically shelved, which means they're going to have the Clay Earn exclusive press versions of the book.
yes,
And then ClayEarnPublishing.com will have those as well.
yeah,
Okay, you need to pick up this book. Our
So
dear-
you are Clay Earn?
We are,
Yes,
yes,
they
we
are.
are Clay Earn.
it is our own imprint. Just because like through our research, so to speak, when we were getting ready to publish Fragments, we kind of went through like a bit of emotions of like how we wanted to do it. Did we want to like try to pitch this to like a big box place or try to do this on our own
Yeah.
and just
There's a lot of things to kind of consider because
it's another tangent basically. When it comes down to it, but what we basically
we have to learn
Uh,
what we want as authors, as any author would want, you know.
Sure,
and,
that's right.
And for us, what we've decided is that we don't want deadlines. We don't want people telling us what to do, what to put on our cover, any of that sort of thing. We want creative freedom. We want to, you know, own our own rights.
That's right.
And so naturally, that kind of came to the conclusion of us also creating Clay Earn Publishing, which while we're working through the very beginning stages of learning this whole process with our own release of the Chimera Snare, the goal then in turn would then be to welcome other authors into the fold to treat their artwork with the reverence that it deserves, so it's not just another consumable commodity, as so much of art seems to kind of be these days.
we've heard just a lot of horror stories from a lot of authors that have dabbled in traditional publishing as well as in independent publishing, and their experiences, namely with traditional publishing, have been alarming, so to speak.
Yep.
And
it's a
so-
dog eat dog world
You
out there.
still have to kind of decide what it is that you want as an author. So if you want to kind of produce content that fits within the box of a smaller box of a larger box,
a brand, essentially.
Exactly, you're creating a brand for somebody else. If that's what you want, I mean, by all means, like you should
Then
do what you
you
want
do
to
you.
do. But for us, it was quite different because, I mean, the rebellious nature. Maybe you can kind
you
of see
wanted
from
it to
some
be an
of our
extension
characters.
of you, yes.
Exactly,
Yes.
which is we don't want anyone telling us what to do.
That's
I mean,
right.
I have never been great with rules for ever kind of until it really made sense
But
that
you've
I
made
had
your
to
own.
kind of
That's right.
listen to rules.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
So
Awesome.
that's what. Yeah.
So at the Chimera Snare and most of those social media groups,
Mm-hmm.
and the chimerasnare.com
.com, yeah.
as your website.
And
Yeah.
by extension, you can be linked to Clay Earn Publishing.
Clay Earn Publishing.
Yeah, when you go to where to
yeah.
buy, we always list where we're physically shelved with independent bookstores who have connected with us thus far and are shelving our versions of the large press print runs that we've done. They are
such as this old book in Grays Lake.
absolutely yes. This book
Yes,
is
this
amazing.
old book in Grays Lake is a fantastic shop.
Yes.
And we as well as we always do on our episodes, listeners, please make sure that you support our indie authors wherever you can at the bookshops where you shop.
Indie bookstores.
Definitely order them, get your bookshop to shelve them. Bring this book in. This is a book that you want to add to your collection. You want to have this one. You want to explore this one. It is multi-layered and just has some themes in there that are good conversation themes as you go through it. As always on Beards, Books, and Bourbon, you can find us on all social media at Books Beards on Twitter, now known as X.
Tweet,
At
X.
Books, Beards, Books, and Bourbon on Facebook. At
Face,
Books
face.
and Beards on Instagram.
Insta.
We are on Blue Sky as well at Books Beard. We're
Blue
kind of
blue
all over the
skies.
place. And we want a big thank you to Shannon and Eddie for joining us this evening. We appreciate both of you being here this night and chatting with us. This was a fun conversation.
Yes.
You need to check this book out. As I've told you before, when I enjoy a book, I order a physical copy. this physical copy is going in my library. So this was a great evening. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you so much. And
Thank
like
you.
I was mentioning before, the Kickstarter for book 2 is out currently. We're expected to wrap that up mid-September, but
Excellent.
everyone who supports the campaign, just like we did with book 1, everyone gets their name in the book in the very beginning of the book's credits as a thank you, because we couldn't have done it.
Yeah, we wouldn't
Without-
be doing what we're doing right now without them.
Awesome.
Exactly.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, we're glad to have you here, and we will look at that Kickstarter. So check out Kickstarter. This episode should drop before your Kickstarter ends. So that
When does
would
your
be a great-
Kickstarter
when
end?
does Kickstarter end?
It's like the,
End of September?
It's mid-September.
Mid-September.
Yeah, we
Okay.
did a full 60-day campaign so we can
Yeah.
properly in person show our
Okay.
Yeah.
It will drop before it ends.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I will make that
it's
happen.
running currently now. So
Excellent.
yeah.
Excellent.
Yep.
And we will tag that in our social media as well.
Yep.
So thank you for joining us and enjoying the bourbon and the book, The Chimera Snare. Thank you for being here, and check us out everywhere on all your podcast platforms. We appreciate the support that you've given to Mark and I as we have crafted this hobby over the years. And remember, everybody, if you're not listening to Beards, Books, and Bourbon,
I am a golden god. I mean, you're doing it wrong.
good night, everybody.
Good night. I am a golden god.